Morgan Zegers is a CEO and founder of Young Americans Against Socialism. Yay! We love it. Morgan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Look at you, so young against socialism. Yes, there's hope in America. God bless you, my child.
Thank you. Well, that's why I chose the name, because I wanted it to be so obvious that there are people my age that are against this ideology, because the stereotype is usually millennials eat avocado toast and we complain about capitalism on our $1,000 iPhones. And I just wanted to break that and make it very clear. We exist, and we're working really hard to fight back.
What is with avocado toast? That's great.
I know.
Because it's really kind of good. It's actually not bad.
I know. I have it. I have it.
They always go into the airport. I saw those places. You go to the airport, they go, avocado toast. I said, what is that? What is avocado toast?
It's like $15.
Yeah. But you're right. The millennials complain, and yet the phone is like $1,200 that they're on.
Yeah.
And so what was your impetus to seeing the light, young lady?
Well, so Young Americans Against Socialism, we're a 501c3. What we do is we make educational videos about the dangers of socialism, the history of socialism, and we want to use the element of emotion. And so we interview people who have lived through socialism and come to the United States. And I did it because I know my generation, it's easy to laugh when we are making fun of capitalism on our $1,000 iPhones, and we aren't we're taking for granted what we have here. But I think the most important way we can move forward on this is to tackle the real issue. And that's that my generation has good intentions. We were failed in the classroom and we're ignorant on the issue of socialism, and that's allowing us to be taken advantage by the far left. And so the enemy here isn't my generation who thinks they support socialism, because I don't think they actually want to seize the means of production. It's the people at the top, like Bernie Sanders, AOC, the Squad, who are specifically lying to them about what socialism really is.
Boy, right on the money. God bless you, girl. It's exactly right. It's all for their power and control.
Absolutely.
And those are the tenets of socialism. It's exactly what it is, what Bernie's doing. And it's very dangerous. God bless you for having. See, you got a shout out to your parents for setting you on the right track. I mean, young people are just fueling Bernie's surge, it seems. Yes,
absolutely. If you look at every socialist movement throughout history, the leader of it has to create the desire for wealth redistribution. I think Bernie Sanders does that with the student loan crisis, saying those evil rich people on Wall Street have all this money. You deserve it. Give me power. I will use government force to take it from them and give it to you because it's fair. They also use climate change to create the sense of fear and urgency and say the world is ending in 12 years. If you don't pass our Green New Deal, which is a socialist restructure of our economy, you want us to die. And what I really hate when I hear people my age, they say, older people don't care about climate change because they're going to die of old age and we're going to die of climate change and they're just not going to be around. It's really disgusting. And so I think providing realistic solutions to these problems is another way we can move forward.
So, I have a daughter who's 20 years old in college too. And she says to me, the words a father never wants to hear, I like Elizabeth Warren.
Well, guess what you could do with Elizabeth Warren? You could go on her website and literally type in, I have $100,000 of student loans. It'll be a little calculator of how much is going to be taken off if you elect Liz Warren. Boom, $50,000. And it's literally like, you will get $50,000 if you vote for me. What kind of message does that send? And is that really going to happen? I don't think so.
No. And so, but how, I don't know, how, I might have been that night. No, when I was younger. I don't know. It's how did you see the light? How do you say to people? Because all you have to do, an old guy like me, I could say, hey, look at Venezuela.
Yeah.
I rest my case. Look at Venezuela. Look what's happening in Virginia, where they're trying to take your guns away. That's not for safety. That's for power and control. Mao did the same thing, and that's exactly what that's for. God bless you for seeing the light. How, and when Venezuela is like now, happening right now. How do they miss that? How do they miss that? How does AOC, I can see AOC saying it, I'm answering my own question because for power and control, but how do you get across to your generation that this is not the way to go, socialism-wise?
Well, I'm thankful. So my dad's a colonel in the Army. My mom is a huge conservative, loves history, and they both just raised me not to be conservative or not to be a certain way politically, but to instead appreciate history and how far we've come. I think that's really lost on my generation. But specifically about AOC and Nordic socialism versus Venezuela, in 2011, Bernie Sanders' Senate website, government website, quoted an article that said the United States, or the American dream is more apt to be realized in Venezuela. And that was in 2011. And so people will see these videos of Bernie Sanders back in the 80s praising Fidel Castro, praising Daniel Ortega, saying he was happy, so happy to see the big government programs in the USSR. And people say, oh, that was back then. And now we're talking about democratic socialism. It's different. And so what we need to clearly define for people my age is that Nordic Europe relies on capitalism. They have big programs, but they pay for those big programs with high taxes and the wealth created from capitalism. Venezuela is actual government control of the economy, and Bernie Sanders is on tape multiple times throughout the last few decades, even up until October 27th, 2019, where he says, I'm really considering government control and seizing the means of production of the utilities industries in this country to fight climate change. So his language mimics Venezuelan socialism, but when he talks to people my age, he says, we'll end up like Nordic Europe. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great.
Yeah, my goodness gracious. This is Morgan Zegers, CEO and founder of Young Americans Against Socialism. A shout out to your dad. He was a colonel. Were you like an Army quote-unquote brat? Forgive me for...
Oh, absolutely. He served in Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Wow.
He came down the day after 9/11 to be a part of that.
Is that right? He came down here to Wall Street. Now, you moved all around, did you?
We did, all around upstate New York. And when I was in high school, I joined the VFW Ladies Auxiliary, and I was an officer. And so I think that's really where I got my start. I wasn't political, but I was interested in my community, and I wanted to help. And so I did all the parades. I sold the poppies. I did all the stuff, and that's what really got me interested.
You know, girl, you're on your way. I'll tell you, you're such a refreshing voice because you got the mayor of New York, and nothing personal against Mayor de Blasio. So I hear he's a very nice guy, you know. But he talks about Cuba. You know, he's been to Cuba.
He quoted Che Guevara. How bad was that?
I mean, you know, and you look at Cuba now, and now I got to say to you, do you support this president? You know, but oh my God, if you support President Trump, but the president is on the right track in everything that you're speaking about.
I do, and I always try and relate it because, you know, I'm not political very much, but I do have the passion of socialism. And I think when we talk about current issues, it relates a lot to the fact that the United States has always been a safe haven for people who are facing struggles around the world. We are a place that takes in refugees. And there's so many people who are struggling in socialist countries, from Cuba, from Venezuela, and they want to get to the United States and live their American dream because they deserve that. And they're experiencing hell right now. And because our immigration system is so broken, it's really a shame because we're so focused on fixing the issue at the southern border, we can't focus and put priorities and resources into saving those people and bringing them to the United States. So it's kind of backlogging the system. And so I really appreciated it. We got invited to a White House policy brief on that.
Wow.
And so we got to go to the White House and hear how they're making active steps so that we can take in more people and be, again, what the United States really embodies, a place where people can come and have freedom. You
went down, so you get in you could run, girl. You could run. But do you run into backlash now? Because whenever you see, you know, the young conservatives or millennial conservatives, God forbid, or the patriots, let me use that, because it's not so much conservatism as patriotism, and you go, no, we're on the right track. There's the hate from the progressive socialist is like nothing I've ever seen, and I've been around a long time. And and I always thought I was a lifelong Democrat, by the way, most of my life, a Democrat. Now I see the light, and I see a more center right. But people on the left are more vicious, and when you come out and you talk, you must get a lot of hate spewed at you.
Yeah, it's definitely hateful on social media, but I mean, who's surprised by that? In person, I have a lot of people on the left that will come to me, more center-leaning Democrats, and they say, you know what? Your argument is really unimpeachable because you are not aggressive anyway. You're not making an enemy out of the people your age. You're specifically attacking the far left, true socialists. And what's scary, I mean, Antifa, the far left, the Democratic Socialists of America, these are violent, radical people. And when I first launched YAS, we got hacked right away. I had to spend a lot of money protecting all my accounts again.
Wow.
I got very serious threats from Antifa members. I have old men who claim to be on the pro-women left who are like posting pictures of me doodling me in bikinis and stuff. It's disgusting. These people are so weird. But it's good to have specific enemies, and I think I have the right enemies when I have communists telling me to F off on Twitter.
Morgan Zegers, CEO, founder, Young Americans Against Socialism. Where can we find you?
You can see all of our educational videos on fightsocialism.org.
Wow, fightsocialism.org. What a riveting conversation.
Thank you so
you are
much
a
for
true
having
inspiration. Me. Love to your parents, and tell your Colonel father thank you for his service.
Thank you.
Thanks, Morgan. Please come back, okay?
Of course.
All right.